Hi, thanks for watching. We at Liberty Awakened are here to push back against the lies that are constantly being fed to you, the American public, by the mainstream media and big tech and the Democrats by sharing what we see as the obvious and indisputable facts of the biggest news stories each week that you would never know unless you dig for the facts. So why are you being lied to? I'll unpack that another time, but I do want to focus these videos on the biggest news stories of the week to point out the facts that the media and big tech are hiding from you. I encourage you to do your own research on what I point out in this video so you can see what I'm telling you is in fact the truth. And this is very important, if you're using Google for your search engine, you're gonna have a very hard time finding these facts because Google's search algorithm is biased. It will give you articles almost exclusively from left-leaning and far left media sources. I recently made the switch to the new DuckDuckGo search engine. Now I actually get balanced results in my searches, like right-wing sources will actually come up. And so please stop using Google to find all your information. If you make the switch to DuckDuckGo when you do your research, you're gonna get sources from both sides, which is obviously better for everybody. With that said, now to the focal point of this video, what in the world happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin this week? So this week we watched as BLM and Antifa rioters burned and looted the city of Kenosha, Wisconsin after CNN and MSNBC announced that local police had gunned down an innocent, unarmed black man in broad daylight in front of his kids. Now, obviously that would be a horrible thing and I would be upset if I heard that too. The whole situation is upsetting, but is that really what happened here? So I'm gonna lay out the facts for you that we know as of today, so that you can make up your own mind. Now, the evidence for these facts is that these are from the audio recording of the police dispatch, the cell phone videos taken by people at the scene, and from the official investigation by the Wisconsin Department of Justice. So as of right now, here's what we know about what happened with Jacob Blake. This incident began when a woman of color called 911 to ask for police because Jacob Blake was at her house without permission. She stated that he took her keys, he was refusing to give them back, and so the caller reported essentially that Jacob Blake was trespassing and was wrongfully in possession of her property. We also now know that the woman who called 911 was one of Blake's actual assault victims. So before the police arrived on the scene, the dispatcher informed them that there was a warrant out for Blake's arrest, and we find out that the warrant was for charges of third-degree sexual assault and domestic abuse against Blake. So when the police arrived on the scene, they already knew that Jacob Blake had been accused of multiple crimes, and they needed to arrest him per his warrant. We don't know exactly how the arrest escalated, but here's what we do know. Blake did resist arrest. He was struggling with the officers, and in fact, he struggled so hard that they had to use tasers to try and subdue him. Not once, but twice. Let me just repeat that. When Blake resisted arrest, the officers did not shoot him. They used non-lethal force, their tasers, to try and subdue him. And this is textbook police procedure when a suspect is resisting arrest. Unfortunately, the tasers didn't work. Blake was able to shake free from the officers and started moving towards his car. Now, in the video, you can see that one of the officers draws his gun and follows Blake, shouting orders for him to stop. Blake ignored the officer's orders. He continued toward the driver's side door of his car. Now, at this point, the cop chases him to try and prevent him from opening the door and grabs the back of Blake's shirt to try and pull him away. Only it doesn't work. Blake is able to get the door open and reach into his vehicle, and it was only at this point that the officer shoots Blake in the back. Now, he shoots him 7 times, and even when I first heard that, I thought, that's probably excessive. Why do you need to shoot him 7 times? Well, what I didn't know was that Blake had a knife. The knife was found in the car in the driver's side area. The officer was close enough to Blake for Blake to strike a lethal blow to the officer with a knife. So the officer fires his weapon until Blake is no longer able to resist. And by the way, Blake is still alive and in custody, and he has admitted to having the knife. The police immediately render medical aid, and an ambulance arrives, I think less than a minute later, and as a result, Blake did survive this incident. He is actually still alive. So, this whole idea that the cops wanted to kill him and that was the whole purpose of this, he didn't die, and they rendered medical aid and called an ambulance immediately. So I don't know how you can make that case. Anyway, those are the indisputable facts, but of course, CNN and MSNBC did not wait for these facts to come to light. Instead, they simply report that police shot an unarmed black man in front of his kids. And believe it or not, this is still the story being pushed by the Democrat politicians in the media, even after we know all these facts. Here's a clip from a press conference yesterday where the Democrat lieutenant governor of Wisconsin basically says, we don't even need an investigation. We know what happened here. This was a racially motivated, unjustified shooting of an unarmed black man by police. Watch this video.
It is ongoing, but we don't need an investigation to know that Blake's shooting falls in a long and painful pattern of violence. And this is a pattern of violence that happens against black lives too often across this country.
Okay, so let me just be clear. We have a man, Jacob Blake, who had a warrant out for sexual assault and domestic abuse, who resisted arrest to the point that he had to be tasered not once, but twice by two separate cops, and he still managed to break free. And he admitted to having a knife on his person this entire time and was shot only after cops gave him repeated warnings to stop and attempted to physically pull him away from his car while he resisted with a knife. But the Democrat governor and lieutenant governor are saying, we don't even need an investigation. We already know this was a racially motivated hate crime. I'm sorry, but that is an insane thing to say. It's insane. I mean, I ask you, what else do you think that these cops were supposed to do? Were they supposed to wait till Blake stabbed them before shooting him? I mean, I'm not even sure that would be good enough for the Democrats here and the media, but apparently we don't need an investigation because these cops are guilty of a hate crime. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to disagree with that because under these facts, as we know them, there's no way these cops are guilty of any crime. They followed proper arrest escalation procedure, used non-lethal force, and finally had to protect themselves from potentially fatal injuries. But if you're still watching this video and you think this shooting was excessive force, I'm going to post a separate video about what can happen if cops don't prevent somebody from reaching into their car. It's kind of violent and disturbing. So if you're sensitive, you may not want to watch it, but I am going to post it so that you can see what happens and why cops need to take these steps to protect themselves. In any case, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please share it. Follow us at Liberty Awakened on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and the new Twitter alternative with no biased algorithms. It's called Parler. Highly recommend you get on that. And subscribe to our YouTube channel under the same name as we continue to shine a light on media lies and give you the undisputable facts. Thank you.